Okay, some people who have got long-term obesity problems might want to know if there's another solution that has been not tried as far as weight loss. And the answer I'm going to give you is yes, you can do the same thing I tell you over and over again in every video. You can raise your consciousness on the scale of human consciousness. At the top of the scale of human consciousness is Wayne Gretzky winning the Conn Smythe Trophy for best player in the NHL playoffs. And he was paid enormous amounts of money to be that guy. Well, what else can we say? Well, we're trying to figure out if raising your consciousness to 900 on the scale of consciousness will help you lose weight and, gain a jawline or whatever. Why do we think that might happen? Well, when you go to higher levels of consciousness, it's a dial on a gas stove on the range top. If you have it at low, there's not much heat being produced. So, low on the scale of consciousness, I don't know, everything under 540 is low. The scale runs from 1 to 1,000. It's an exponential scale. 1 on the scale is the consciousness of a single-celled organism like an amoeba. 1,000 on the scale is where Jesus and Buddha, Krishna, Shiva, Zoroaster are. Well, Wayne Gretzky hit 900 on the ice, and Jesus was at 1,000. Then Wayne Gretzky was at 900. It's like, don't forget, it's an exponential scale. So 900 to 1,000 is still an enormous amount of change. But it means just a few points on the scale of human consciousness can change your life enormously. But why just be satisfied with just a few points when you can make enormous jumps? Let's say you were an evil fucking person, like the people that bedevil me. Let's go with Brent Beeson the Devil. Brent Beeson the Devil is a real human being who uses an electronic technology to disguise his voice all the time. And I don't know what his human name is, and he's been torturing me for 6 fucking years, along with a bunch of other human beings. Anyway, this person calibrates over 200 on the scale of human consciousness, under 200, under 190, and that's what's called, if you read David R. Hawkins, David R., the letter R, Hawkins, we put R in there so it makes it easier to find him. Hawkins, Hawkins. Did you jot that down? I'll give you a moment to go get a pen and a piece of paper, because I really want you to write this down. I'm still waiting. I really, really want you to go and get a piece of paper and write down this guy's name. I'll give you a minute. I'll be online here for a minute for you to go and find a pen, and in a minute I'm going to start talking again. I don't have a clock, but I have a clock on my phone. So I'm 4 minutes into this video, and I won't talk again for a minute. In the meantime, you can look at this if you're waiting for me to start talking again. Just, meditate on a nice day. Ten seconds, and I'll start talking again, I think. Okay, you got your pens? Okay, again, the guy's name is David R, the letter R, Hawkins, Hawkins. I'm assuming you know how to spell David. David. Got it? David R. Hawkins. Now, put that there because when the video's over, I want you to go and buy one of his books, and I want you to go to YouTube and look him up and watch some of him. Because it's pointless to keep coming back to me day after day after day to see me being tortured if I don't give you some spiritual information. Because the whole reason I'm being tortured is because I'm a spiritual teacher. Why do people want to go and shoot the spiritual teacher? Because of the king rat scenario. It's a movie. Brent thinks it's Brent Beast and the Devil. It's still Brent. He's still talking. Yeah, we think he's about 65 years of age. He just interrupted me, and that's why, I gotta wait. Because he's talking in the back of my head all the time through, it's called remote neural monitoring. It's a torture device, high-tech, developed by the American Pentagon. And or another story is it was an extraterrestrial technology brought to Earth 500 years ago. You're going to say, how could that come off you? Well, because if you go back to the stories of ancient India, the stories of ancient India are they had spacecraft in ancient India. So it seems like our civilization either was very, very high in technology, thousands of years ago, and then we must have had a great fall in consciousness where we lost civilization. And we're trying to hold on to what little bit of civilization we have because we're losing a little bit what we got day by day because mostly people are incredibly lazy and stupid. And I learned that from that movie I was talking about yesterday, Waking Life by Richard Linklater. So you can write that one down on your piece of paper as a great movie to get. Waking Life. And that's the movie. Okay, now what else do we want to talk to you about? I don't know. I talked to you about something before you took a minute off. David R. Hawkins. This is how difficult it is for me to do videos. Because with remote neural monitoring on me, they do those men in black mind wipes on me all the time. It's high tech. You don't have to get an Elon Musk implant. And they've got everybody on the planet in the system. Why are they only torturing me? Well, I guess they still want to see society running for now until they implement the cull of the human population as described in the Georgia Guidestones. Look, okay, write that down on your list of things to write down and research. Just put it into Google. Georgia Guidestones. In there, they tell you they want to reduce the world population from 8 billion to 500 million, which means they're going to get rid of you, your friends, and all your family, the 1%. Agenda 2030 is what sometimes these things are called. The 1% are also known as the Bilderbergers. The Carlyle Group is the Carlyle Group is a strange one. It's definitely 1%ers, but it's got a funny name, Carlyle. Who is the most famous person whose last name is Carlyle? Well, there might be some rich aristocrats. Carlyle to me sounds like it's got money. Lots of money, a 1%er. And who am I talking about? I don't know if he's a 1%. I don't know what his personal history is. But it's the actor, Robert Carlyle. Most famous for playing the part of Rumpelstiltskin in the TV show Once Upon a Time. Why? Because Rumpelstiltskin was one of the first fake names used by a devil who came through and started bedeviling me, and he called himself Rumpelstiltskin. Well, it's just that this remote neural monitoring, after lots of research, I don't really research. I don't know, put it in Google, I put it in YouTube and see what comes up and listen to some videos and see what I get. But you don't need an implant for this. Super high technology. It's an interface between you and another person. Is it like Mr. Spock in the original series Star Trek, where he does like puts his hand on somebody's head and then he can merge minds that way? I don't know. I don't have one of these Dr. Evil machines. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm not hooked up to anything. And without my consent, they hooked me up to this high-tech torture device. And if I can't get words, it's because that's what they can do. In addition to mind wipes, they can go and fuck with my, we call it the throat chakra. Because if you got trillions of dollars of American taxpayer money to spend at the Pentagon for decade after decade after decade after decade, you've spent, I don't know, what's the next thing? You know, you go billion, trillion, and then what's the next thing about billion, trillion? That's how much unlimited funds. And in the end, if they didn't create it on Earth, it was created off the planet by somebody even smarter. And there's not much smart in giving away high-tech torture devices. In the end, the karmic Miranda on somebody who gifts a terrorist with unbelievably high technology so they can electronically turn somebody into a zombie. I mean, do I look like a zombie or not? I don't know. There's times when I'm able to talk, when there's other times when it was horrible last night. So this remote neural monitoring, you can look it up, see what you got. Because this is the mind control system for planet Earth, to keep all of your minds focused on being slaves. Neo. I don't think we need Starnet from Elon Musk. Because before Elon Musk launched all those satellites, I was already being attacked by this electronic harassment. It's beyond harassment. It's electronic murder machine. Torture and murder. I don't know, the average day, let's go with 20 attempts on my life for 6 years. Why don't they do it? Why don't they finish the job? Can they kill me with this machine becomes the question. And after 6 years of trying, I'm not dead. But they might have only turned it up to, let's say the dial goes from 1 to 10 on their torture machine, and they turn it up to 10. Well, I was told by some third party that they actually turned it up to 15. And I didn't die. Maybe that's as high as the machine would go. But I'm a serious spiritual student, and I'm not like the average person. I mean, I look like the average person on the outside. But hidden from view is the fact that I just muscle tested in the previous video. I'm at 700 in the scale of human consciousness when the average, I don't know, let's find out what the average is today, because it changes day to day because we're in Earth Ascension, and sometimes it goes exceptionally high and sometimes it's not so high. But right in this now moment, today, we have permission. The collective people on planet Earth in my dream today calibrate over 200, over 300, 400, 400. 400 is where the collective's at today. Why do we say my dream? Because in the olden days, we were brainwashed to believe that this world that you look at is a physical world, and things are physical. And this is a physical body. And then they developed the science of physics based upon physical things. So, the famous thing that you learned in high school is billiard ball physics, where you take a ball on a billiard pit and you can do angles and things, and you can figure out the energy of, if you take this ball and you lift it, it took energy to lift it, and now the energy is stored in the ball. And if you let go, then the energy is released. And if you do it right, you can make a hydro dam and make hydroelectric power for virtually free by using the principle of the water is going to keep coming around through the hydroelectric cycle. The water in the lake evaporates, goes up into clouds, and it rains somewhere else up on a higher ground, and the water has to flow to lower levels, and you just, So all this engineering is based upon a lot of this physics that's Newtonian physics. Sir Isaac Newton, around the year, I don't know, let's go 700. Sorry. You'll have to look it up, because Mark Beeson the Devil is attacking me again, so I can't give you the information because he's just a vicious, violent terrorist. And that's what this is all about. You see, I'm chock-a-block full of spiritual information, and the information is designed to help all of you, because I've already done it myself. And it's just a gift. I'm not charging you for anything. It's just a gift, because that's my job now, is to help you all out. Because in the end, what do I want? I want 5D Earth, fifth-dimensional Earth, heaven on Earth. And I want you all to come. Brent Beeson doesn't want you to come. Brent Beeson wants you to go to the Lake of Fire, because he doesn't want to go to the Lake of Fire. He wants to take everybody and put them in there, even though he's the most evil fucking shit demon there is. Well, even a shit demon doesn't want to go someplace horrible like the Lake of Fire. This is what I got to do with that arm right now. Because he'll rip this right out. Even when I tuck it under here and I use my muscle strength to hold that arm, he's constantly tugging at it. He's got remote control Dr. Ho on me. This is a high-tech machine. Every time I herky-jerky, that's them doing it. And you'll see over and over again. And that's why they attack me, because they don't want the spiritual information to go to you. Because if you raise your consciousness, you cannot be slaved. You can't be enslaved. You cannot be enslaved. Anyways, I can help you out. There was a muscle testing number I gave you a little while ago before Beeson attacked me. This goes on all day for 6 years. It's a horror, and it is murder, over and over and over again. I told you, they turned it to 10. 10 was supposed to kill everybody. They turned it up to 15 on me. Why am I different? Because when you raise yourself on the scale of human consciousness, everything changes about you. And you can read about it in Dr. Hawkins' books. I don't know, you can start with power versus force, and then you can go into eye of the eye, and then I. Anyways, your Amazon app will have Dr. David R. Hawkins. Please go and look him up, because I'm not going to be able to give you the full information about what Dr. Hawkins talks about, because I'm under demonic attack all the time. But what you can take away from me, Brent Beeson says the reason I'm attacked, blah, 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 blah. But what you can take away from me is that I'm really being attacked. And you can go back and look at, go back 5 weeks on my things, and you'll see over and over again I'm attacked. I've been attacked for 6 fucking years by this shit. And whoever that actor is that's playing Rumpelstiltskin, is it Robert Carlyle or not? I don't know. Somebody's going to have to get a hold of Robert Carlyle and waterboard that motherfucker until he coughs up the truth. Because he's an evil fucking shit thing. The actor, yes. Why? Because he is. I can't give you anything more than that. Other than the fact I've been tortured for 6 years, and the first person that came along was named Rumpelstiltskin. And later that year, we discovered, Rumpelstiltskin was with me all the time. We discovered, and it didn't seem like he knew, but maybe he, I don't know. Anyway, that particular actor discovered that there was a really big TV show called Once Upon a Time. And I'd never heard of this TV show. Never, 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 never. And this guy was trying to get, well, he did. He forced me to buy a bunch of stuff, a bunch of books and things, and it was about alternate reality games. And what he let me know was the alternate reality games was bringing Rumpelstiltskin into your house and into my body. And that's what happened. Using this high-tech machinery. And the face of Rumpelstiltskin modern day is Robert Carlyle, the fucking actor, because he's a fucking devil. So what you see on TV, why? Because I've been deviled by these fucking people. And anybody named Robert Carlyle is a rich motherfucker in addition to being a rich fucking actor. I don't know where he lives. I'm not going to go and try and find him. Are you nuts? I'm totally attacked. I can't even get out of my hotel room. Because it goes on and on and on for hours all fucking day long. I'm looped up in here. I used to be a personal support worker, helping out old people in the old folks' home. And then, the first year when I was under attack by Rumpelstiltskin, I was still working as a personal support worker. But on the inside, he was attacking me, mind-wiping me. I managed to get the work done, but the whole time I was being tortured on the inside. And in those days, in the first year, I wasn't able to get the words out to even tell people that I was under electronic assault, because they completely control you. They block your ability to even say, please help me. So what's changed over these 5 or 6 years? They've lost control over me. A lot of the things that they used to be able to do, they can't do. And they can't block me from talking the way I do in these videos, the way they could in the first year. In the first year, I couldn't even tell anybody about what was going on the inside. Completely trapped on the inside by a terrorist. High technology beyond belief. Horrific electronic duppying and turning people into zombies. That's the state of technology in the military today. And I'm a civilian personal support worker. And they attacked me. Just because I know all the stuff. But how many people are students of Dr. Hawkins? Lots and lots. Are we all attacked? I don't know. Because there's so many other spiritual teachers. Eckhart Tolle. The Power of Now book was in every airport kiosk. So what real reason is there to stop me from telling you about spirituality when I'm basically giving you the same thing? It's called the perennial philosophy, and all these different teachers over the years have taught it. Am I any different than Wayne Dyer, who was on PBS TV all the time? No. So why am I being attacked and Wayne Dyer wasn't? Well, I'm currently being attacked because I'm a personal, intimate person with Scott Dougall, who's the director of Interactive at Google. The whole shit show, worldwide. And Scott Dougall hates me because I keep telling everybody that he's a faggot. Because he used to like to go skinny dipping and walking up and down Amethyst Sunnyside Road. Was that right? No, from Main Dock at Amethyst back to the Wagang, naked. Why? Just for fun. Does it imply that he's homosexual? I guess who was walking with him? A known homosexual named Bobby Burrows. Anyways, you fuck off, Scott Dougall, you fucking faggot, because that's what you are. In the end, nothing happened because, I don't know. I'm scared. All the same. I was a faggot. I wasn't an out faggot. No, nobody was out in those days, but more and more people are coming around to the idea that they do have a faggot side. Because I guess they just get bored with one thing and they want to go try the other one. What do you think? Well, you're all a bunch of fucking monkeys. You ever watch monkeys on TV? All they want to do is go butt bang everybody. Just like when you get a dog and an untrained dog comes and humps your leg. You're a fucking monkey and you're a fucking dog too, and that's what everybody wants to do is hump things. It's built into your system. You get horny. You can't turn that off. So just accept the fact that you can't turn yourself into a robot. You're a fucking advanced monkey, and monkeys like to fuck. They can't help it, because you constantly get hard, especially when you're a teenager. You can't help it. It's the most embarrassing thing. It's out of your control because the raging hormones. And it's just constant. Anyways, nothing happened. So you can say, no, he's not officially queer because nothing, I didn't even touch him. And in the end, Is he really any different than anybody else's, A head, two legs, a torso and a couple of legs, and what was it? Sylvester Stallone in one of his movies. Well, I was talking to, whoever it was. Brent Beeson isn't letting me tell you a funny story right now because it was all about Rocky Stallone saying blah, 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 blah. You know how long I'm going to go blah, blah, blah before I can give you a punchline? Do you think it's fun for me not to be able to tell you the most simple story? Because the mind, and you should hear him gloating in the background because he's gloating because he calibrates at 150 right now, Satan, and he wants to kill me. And he tries all the time, but he can't. And all the same, it hasn't stopped. We call this the mopping up operation because the spell is broken. I can tell you about this thing. Oh, what was it? It was called Bumping Uglies. So that's the only reason I can think of why Scott Dougall has a personal vendetta about me. He's afraid that I'm going to tell the story about, going for a swim in, the Dougall pool out at Wabang, Amethyst Harbor, Sunnyside, when I was about 15 years old with Scott. Nothing happened. I don't know. Is skinny dipping a big deal? No. I don't know. After midnight, walking down Cap Roads when there's nobody else around and just streaking? That's what it is. We weren't holding hands or nothing. No. I don't know. 10 and 15 feet ahead of me was the Dougall, or he was up. I don't know. It was pitch black. I couldn't see nothing. I can't tell you nothing about his joke because I couldn't see. Because in those days I wore glasses. I didn't have glasses on, so I can't see without glasses in those days. I had laser eye surgery, decades later when it was available. But in those days when I was a kid, I couldn't see without glasses. So I can't tell you. You somebody say, well, I have no idea. And he didn't have a heart on. Nothing. So why is everybody continuing to tell me? That's the only thing I can think of that Scott Dougall might be afraid of. With regard to a known gay guy who was in the closet in those days. But the story is the story. It's just simply skinny dipping. There was nothing. I never even got near the naked man. Whatever. We're 15. Is your man? Whatever it is. But that's the only thing I can think of that would justify Scott Dougall having a personal vendetta against me. I knew him for years and years and years and years and years. Why do we blame him? Because the evil fucking devils, like Brent Beeson, for years and years and years and years say, we work for Scott Dougall at Google. And if it's not true, I've presented this information for years and years to Scott and Rochelle Dougall about this remote neuromonitoring attacks on me. And the response from Scott Dougall is zero. Zero. It's like talking to the wallpaper. No response, and his wife Rochelle has not said anything either. She just blocked me 2 days ago. But for, 5 or 6 years, I've been sending all this information. And she finally got fed up. I don't know why. But she's never said Scott's not involved, and she's never said Scott's not involved. But all of Scott's friends from Port Arthur Collegiate Institute in Thunder Bay are suspect. I don't know. Do I sound paranoid? I can't help you out. You go back a year or something. Go back 6 months and look. Every one of my videos I'm attacked. And I haven't been able to work as a personal support worker for 5 years. And no one wants to believe my fucking story. But, in 1990, there was the Clint Eastwood movie Firefox, where Clint Eastwood was flying a Russian jet with just his mind, no joystick. So over 30 years ago, they told you that this technology is being used by the military. So why do you think that this is not available? When they told you in 1990 that it was available, that was when they disclosed this stuff. And everybody fucking hates me. My mom, my dad, my sister, and my other sister hate me.
All my former friends hate me and won't take calls from me? Why? My only assumption can be is that they all know that I am being tortured, and they know who's doing it, and they approve of me being tortured. David R. Hawkins of Consciousness Research told us, on planet Earth, 78% of the population calibrates under 200 on the scale of human consciousness. Now, that textbook is 20 years old, but 20 years ago, 78% of people were in the very bottom end of the scale of human consciousness, where people are stupid and criminal. And Dr. Hawkins said, that was worldwide, and he said in the USA, for example, 50% of the population was under 200. 50% of people are prone to being criminal and incredibly stupid. And to be a criminal is stupid because in the end, everybody knows you're going to get caught in the end. And even if you're Scott Dougall of Google, you're going to get caught in the end because beyond controlling all the police forces and all the militaries, the 1% has got the biggest problem. That's God. Why did they lose all of their control? I mean, it's still horrible to what I go through. It's beyond horrible. If you were experienced even one day with this attenuated version of remote neural monitoring, I don't know. I don't know. You just suffer through it the way I do. Absolute horror. Do you ever get used to it? No. Beeson says I actually want to be tortured because that's what they do. They get the most evil fucking people. So where do we go from here? Well, Earth is ascending into a higher consciousness and bringing us with us. And those of us that are proactive want to get ahead of the curve. And that's where I am, ahead of all you people, ahead of the curve. Because I learned. Because when I was a kid, I didn't know nothing about being proactive, and I didn't understand. And, over the decades, you start seeing proactive people, and you see people who are Luddites. Luddites are people who wait to the bitter end, like my dad. The last person in Thunder Bay to get a cell phone, a smartphone, was my papa. Jackass. He's got 2 degrees. My dad, chemistry and chemical engineering. And he's the last person in Thunder Bay to get an iPad and to get a smartphone. And I still think he doesn't have an ATM card. You're saying, what? You know how long ATMs are? I can help you out. The man is the ultimate Luddite. A Luddite is that person who refuses to adopt new technology. Why? Because he's got a slave called his wife, Susan. And Susan's job is to take the ATM card and go get money out and get extra money out to give to Dave. It's 2022. How long have ATM cards been out? That fucking man still enslaves his wife to go get him money out of the bank machine. Luddite. And what? Control freak. I need to have a slave, and that's my wife, Susan. And when I'm around, my other slaves are my children. Dave Burrows enslaves his children. Well, it was normal. It was considered normal in those days to enslave your children. And people are still going to have a hard time with that because they're, well, children need to be doing chores and stuff around the house and whatever. Well, from my heart to you, the truth is the truth. Those are children. And children are supposed to be children. And they're not supposed to be enslaved to doing yard work and all kinds of stuff. Because they didn't buy all that big yard. They didn't buy that house. You did. And then you're going to say, well, they enjoy the fruits of it. Well, you put them there, you stupid person. You're going to say, well, then they'll be adults and they won't. Well, then what? Because what? You're saying, well, don't I need to be a parent to those children? When you raise your consciousness on the scale of human consciousness, if you're children, for example, you don't need a parent. Because at higher consciousness, your parent is your soul. And your soul is older than your body. So even if a kid is 5 years old, the soul of that 5-year-old child is older than you, mama or papa. Let's find out about my soul. Okay, let's see. My soul has an age. My soul is immortal and timeless. My soul always was and always will be. That's hard for my monkey mind to get around. It is. Even though I've been, 25 years a spiritual student, those things blow my mind still. I've always been and always will be, is what that says. Because I can't remember. And even if I could remember, I don't know. How long is that? I don't know. So my soul was around at the time of the last ice age? That's true. That's true. It's true. So what are we seen to be doing? Well, we're just a little tiny sliver of that enormous thing called soul. And that's what we're playing around with. A little tiny bit of soul. Here in the human thing. Brent Beeson is trying to get me to say hormone. No, why? Because he's got a ping pong head, and it don't make any sense to me. And instead of me saying doesn't, like I would normally do, they often change my words to make me look stupid. As if I'm saying the wrong English words that, somebody with a Bachelor of Science and an MBA should never speak improper language. And I don't intend to. But the remote neural monitoring, just like it can move my hand and jerk my hand around and mind wipe me, it can insert words and it can completely take over. So that I don't get to talk at all through my own body because of Scott Dougall's evil fucking people at Google. And if it's not him, then he's not willing to say it's not him. And he's called Director of Interactive Services. And you can look him up, Scott Dougall, Google, on LinkedIn. So where do we leave this? Well, mostly this is just disclosure of what's going on. Because we've been lied to, and Donald Trump told you, fake news, which means fake history. You do fake news every day on TV, and after 10 years, you got 10 years of fake history. So everything you've been taught has been faked, because the people really in control don't want you to know the truth. And that's why they attack me all the time. But they don't attack Aaron Doughty or Victor Otto or Lori Ladd or Phil Good when they talk about the same thing that I do. And I don't know, 100,000 subscribers or more on some of these things. But I'm lucky to see like 18 views on mine. Exact same thing. They teach that stuff and it goes back to like Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra. Those are guys, my father's generation of spiritual teachers. Anyways, this has been 6 years of this all day fucking long. Do you think that Scott Dougall and Google are evil? I tell it all the time. They make Chrome laptops. That's the name. And inside, they make Adreno chips to go inside the Chrome laptop. So that means adrenochrome, which is, again and again, that evil fucking drug that you make by terrorizing and torturing people and then draining their blood. And Johnny Depp drank that blood concoction in that movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's what it is. This itch in my eye, that's electronically controlled. And if you look up microwave attacks on the American embassy in Havana, Cuba, they use microwave weapons that do the same kind of thing. Make your skin itch. Well, best evidence is that everybody is on remote neural monitoring. Everybody's being monitored. And the amount of fuckering around with you, maybe it varies, but it's on full blast, and it's been on full blast for 6 years against me. So why would Scott Dougall, one of the head honchos at Google, want to target me with this? I told you. Outing him as somebody who likes to streak and go skinny dipping. I've got nothing else to say about Scott Dougall, about why he would want to target me. But he refuses to say that he's not targeting me, and he refuses to give me a bunch of other people that he knows in big tech that I could call to find out. Who exactly is it? So we're just going to go with a company that calls their adrenochrome up. Because I couldn't get the word right there because Beeson was fucking with my voice. That's this technology. The Googleizer. The Dr. Evil of all this fucking shit. Go back now. I don't know, just scroll down on my YouTube. I don't know. Just pick a random one or two. Go back 6 months if you can. Spin. And you'll see I've been attacked on film. Over and over and over again. So I'm not bullshitting about this thing. What do you need to do? You need to raise your consciousness on the scale of human consciousness. It's the only way we're going to escape the 1%. You can't fight them in the 3D world. They own all the armies, they own all the navies, all the police forces, all the spyware, all the NSA, all the Donald Trumps are all owned by the 1%. And as a little minion, the only tool that is at our disposal that will absolutely work is to raise our consciousness on the scale of human consciousness. Why is it that I'm still attacked? Because you people haven't raised your consciousness enough to go and get all these devils dead. But that's what happens. And the scale of human consciousness is we get everybody up high, and then we get a bunch of dirt devils that refuse, and they're going to die. Because they can't live in heaven when they're devils. And why could they live here? Because this earth that we're in now is not heaven. We just came out of hell. Before 1987, planet Earth was a hell world. Harmonic concordance of 1987, an astrological thing, and a bunch of people got together and did mass meditations to raise consciousness, and it worked. And for the first time ever in 1987, the collective consciousness of the people on planet Earth got over 200 on the scale. 200, under 200 is just the worst people. So we're crawling out of hell since 87. And enormous jumps in consciousness on the scale of human consciousness are possible, according to David R. Hawkins. So instead of going up by 4 points a lifetime, because that's what he said, in your previous human lifetimes, if you were just what he called a householder, somebody who had a house and a family, on average, a person would move up 4 points on the scale of human consciousness in a whole 75 years of human living. And then reincarnate, and gradually move up the scale. But we never knew David R. Hawkins. We never do any kind of research. I don't know. I think he came on the scene, let's go with 1995, 2000. So when I was a kid, we didn't have any books about David R. Hawkins, and we didn't have the internet. And mainstream TV showed us nothing of true spirituality at all. But times have changed, and we got all this information now. We got all these videos, and we got all kinds of junkies that love to binge watch things like David R. Hawkins on YouTube, or Eckhart Tolle on YouTube. In other words, if you don't want to read the books, watch them on YouTube. But you got to get that information into your head, and so that you can apply it and raise your consciousness. Otherwise, if nobody does, then I don't know if I'm ever going to be free of this remote neuromonitoring. Because I've done so many things to do the letting go, and that was one of Dr. Hawkins' books titled Letting Go. And there's all kinds of information in there. And I've talked for 45 minutes as an introduction to Eckhart Tolle and David R. Hawkins. And you getting your consciousness up, and the reason why. Do you want to be attacked for the rest of your life by remote neural monitoring because the 1% want to enslave us and we just want to be free and we want to have heaven on earth? Do you want to have heaven on earth? You want to throw away your wallet and throw away your job and throw away your accountant and throw away your tax expert and throw away your government and live in heaven? That's hard to conceive. What does that really mean? No government? Nope. Who's going to plow the snow? What do you want to do in the snow? Because it's up to you what you want to experience. You won't have this where all the collective is doing the same thing. It's what you want to do. How do you choose? Well, it's not going to be you as the ego, because that's what you are. If you're, under 200, it's still mostly ego, even under 540 on the scale of human consciousness is ego. And it's not your soul. And that's what Eckhart Tolle's book and David R. Hawkins' books are about. How do you switch from being an ego-driven person to being a soul person? And that's for you to learn. So that's your introduction to the scale of human consciousness. And the carrot and the stick is, the carrot is heaven. Truly heaven. You enjoying yourself 24 hours a day, every day, and never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever having a shitty day again. And that's the carrot. It's totally available to everybody on the planet. Everybody on the planet can raise their consciousness to at least 540. And that's where you go to heaven. And if you don't, you're not coming back to this purgatory. You're going to the lake of fire and you're going to burn forever. That's the stick. How true is that? You can learn to muscle test on the scale of human consciousness, YouTube, and then once you've learned how to muscle test, you can ask your own body these questions. That's how David R. Hawkins got all his research, doing muscle testing. Your Body Doesn't Lie is the book by Dr. John Diamond of chiropractic. So you can learn more about muscle testing there. Curiously, nobody wants to ask me a question about where I learned all this stuff. Clearly, I read a lot of books and I watch a lot of videos. So anybody out there, like my mama, who says that I'm insane, is 100% devil, and she is. She cherishes ignorance and stupidity. She does. She's a stupid mama. And nothing I can do about her, but she bedevils me. I don't know, she went from being my mom to being my sworn enemy. And I can't help you tell you anything. But as long as she stays the devil, I want to see her in the lake of fire, and I never want to see her again. Because I get near her, and she energy vampires me. Because when you go to higher levels of consciousness, people who are like, at 190 or 150 are toxic and poison to you. Well, they're toxic and poison to you before I raised my consciousness. They're just horrible bosses and horrible people like my mama and my papa, who refuse to raise their consciousness. And even when I called St. Peter at St. Peter's Gate in using telepathy, St. Peter came through and chewed the ass out of my papa, Dave Burrows, for still eating meat when he's 87 years old or whatever the fuck he is. He doesn't invite me around anymore because he's a devil. And he was the boss, the mill manager at Great Lakes Paper in Thunder Bay. So, devils do get into positions of management and power. He refuses to stop eating meat, which means he's going to hell. He doesn't believe it because he says, well, Jesus ate lamb or whatever. I can't help you out because that's the way it is. And even when age 20, he worked at the slaughterhouse in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and watched the animals die. And I asked him, did the animals know that they're about to be murdered? I didn't say murdered, about to die, about to be killed. He said, yes, they know. So he's a heartless son of a bitch that watches these animals die so that he can eat baconators and roast beef on Sunday. Well, originally that's what it was. When we were kids, he was like a fuck-faced, stupid person because he demanded on Sunday morning that we all get up and go to that church. The Christian church, St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church across from City Hall in Thunder Bay. And he would yell and scream at us the whole time. It's supposed to be about Jesus. Jesus loves the little children. Not the Jesus of that Presbyterian Church of Canada. Nope. Because it made Dave Burrows The devil. And anyways, that's not his religion. He's not a Christian. Even though he made us go to that Christian church. And he bedeviled us on Sunday morning, just screaming and yelling, and then get in the car and chew us all out that we're going to be late for church and we're going to have to sit too far up in the front under the minister's gaze or whatever. Well, if that's the way you feel, Dave, why did you have to go to that fucking church? It's not even his religion. His religion is Freemasonry. And Freemasons are the devils that run this planet. Because the Freemason, the head Freemason in Great Britain, is the cousin of Queen Elizabeth. And don't forget the son of Queen Elizabeth, Prince Andrew, is a notorious child killer from Epstein's Island, and he's still on the loose. So the 1% are above the law, and that's got to change. And the only way it's going to change, you can't talk about it, no one's going to listen. You have to change yourself. And the only way you can change yourself is to do the self-help work. Change yourself on the inside, and David R. Hawkins is one of the people you can try. Eckhart Tolle was another one I gave you. Start with them, because they are really good.